The rollout for Tana Talk 4 has begun because Benny the Butcher just dropped the single Johnny P's Cadillac featuring J. Cole. And seeing as Tana Talk 3 is one of his most well-received projects, it's safe to assume that Tana Talk 4 is very highly anticipated. So, we definitely have to go bar for bar and break down these lyrics. If you're new here, these breakdowns are where I go through and read out the lyrics to a song and give my interpretation of what the artist is trying to say. My interpretations are not always correct, and I do miss things. So, if I miss something or misinterpret anything, please let me know in the comments below, because then everyone gets to learn something. So the track starts off with a bit of an intro and kind of leading you in with the production from The Alchemist, which always good. And I don't recognize, I feel like I recognize the sample, but I don't know what it is. It feels familiar, but regardless, the intro just kind of says how this is for Tana Talk 4, and this means a lot to him, like this album, this project, and the rest of the intro makes it seem like it's gonna be about how he came up and where he is now. But as we see with the first line of the first verse, that is not the case.
This ain't my story about rags to riches, more about how I mastered physics. In a game I used to train like Rocky, catching chickens. I was nice, but they was right when they told me that rapper business.
So, like I said, this isn't a story about rags to riches necessarily, but more about how he mastered physics. And what that means is it's not going to be focusing on like the whole come up, maybe more on him refining his craft and somewhere like near like the beginning of his career maybe, but not way back, because I think we kind of know some of that already from Benny. In the game I used to train like Rocky catching chicken, so like Rocky, it's like he's training, he's putting in the hours, he's putting in the work to get to his level. And you know, he was nice back then, but they were right when he told him that rapper business. So maybe that's just people saying you should pursue it, because at that point, I mean, Benny may have been in other endeavors, so they're like, nah, you could do something with this. Or he was getting into rap and they had started to tell him about how the game works.
I had 10 bands in my stash when I passed over $500,000. Come easy, no good. Don't be surprised I'll last these niggas. It's like they put out a smash, then they gone in a flash, admit it. And then they make tracks and disses like that's gonna add up the digits.
There's a couple ways I can think of this. The first way is like he had 10 bands on him, like just at the house on him when he passed over $500,000. So the $500,000 could be in terms of music, like plays, streams, sales, or like he made $500,000 and he had that with him as well. Another way you could really look at it is if you think about streaming, the streams make very little money in the end. Like it's hard to get a lot of money off of streams, is what I'm trying to say. So he passed over $500,000 streams maybe, and then he had $10,000 on him because of it. I don't know if that math checks out. I think that's a little off, but regardless, I think it's more he had the 10,000 on him, even though he had his money piling up elsewhere as well. And don't be surprised that he outlasts these other rappers, outlasting them in a couple ways, like longevity in terms of their music, but also the money. Like he has 10,000 on him, maybe that's like spending money, and then he has $500,000 stashed elsewhere to kind of work for him, like investments. But then continuing on to talk about these rappers, because, you know, some rappers, when they get money, they just spend it right away, and, you know, they end up running out of money eventually. So he goes on and he's like, it's like they put out a smash, then they go on a flash, admit it. Like some rappers just drop a track and get hot and then they're gone and you don't really hear from them. The first example that came to mind was Lil Pump. Like after Gucci Gang and all that, like ain't no one paying attention to him anymore. And then they made tracks and diss us, and like that's gonna add up the digits. I don't know if he's talking about anyone in particular here, but I mean, it's probably those people who put out a smash and just dipped. But it us could be the collective us, like the royal us, like him, like he's talking about himself, or he's talking about Griselda in general. Like they're dissing us now.
They showing fake racks and pictures like that's gonna attract the bitches. That was really me, nigga. I ain't have to act and conflicted. Only difference is I'm living, and I would've whacked one of them niggas who knew that after drug dealing I still be casual spending mil plus.
So they're showing fake racks and pictures like that's gonna attract the bitches. Like people think that money is everything, and it may attract some people, but I mean, if you ain't got it, why showing it off? You know, kind of like rappers that lease supercars and stuff just to show them off on social media. But he's like, nah, like y'all doing this stuff, you're acting, but I was really in it. I was really doing it. I really had it. And then I didn't have to act conflicted because Benny was in the film Conflicted by Griselda, or that was produced by Griselda.
Annual income, so here's my manual, then some. And this east side shit still in me. My ability to turn words to imagery. Probably the reason they gon' remember me.
So the mil plus that he is spending is also his annual income. Benny's probably one of those people that knows what he's doing with his money. He seems smart enough. Like he's not gonna go out and just blow all his money on unnecessary things. Here's my manual and some. Like this is how he got to where he is. And this east side shit's still in me. Eastside Buffalo. And then, you know, his ability to turn words into imagery, which is something that not every rapper can do. Like not necessarily storytelling, but painting a picture that is engaging and interesting enough for the listener to be like, oh no, I see what you're trying to say. And that's why they're gonna remember him.
Figure we walk this tightrope with a feline's agility. The streets did so much shit to me, I could never live civilly. I can never lead a scene without checking my mirrors visually. Come with that energy, cause some shit gon' always stick with me.
Figure me walk this tightrope with a feline's agility. Like, again, if he's like telling you or giving you this manual on how he got to where he is, he's like, just figure me out. But also walk this tightrope with a feline's agility. Like, you gotta be quick with it. You gotta be dexterous. Like, not everyone can do that. And then he's reflecting on the street life. Like, the streets did so much to him, so he can never live civilly. And he's still, watching his blind spots, essentially. Because, you always gotta watch your back.
They wanna know what I brought to Griselda. I say validity. They asking what work that niggas put in. I'm like, but didn't we? Problems, then I correct through the obstacles I progress. Illogical for them to feel they responsible for our success.
And then a lot of people, I feel, may forget that Benny's in Griselda because like the spotlight's always on Conway and Westside, and especially because of him not signing to Shady. Like he's like, man, you ain't even with Griselda, and he's like, nah, I brought validity. I brought the realness. I brought, this is what we is. Because in my mind, at least around the time like Griselda really got attention, like 3 or so years ago, everyone was paying a lot of attention to Benny. And I think that was right around the time Tana Talk 3 came out as well, if I'm not mistaken. And, at that time, not as many people were paying attention to Conway or Westside Gun. People always were like, nah, Benny's number one in Griselda. Like, that's what he brought to Griselda. Like, he brought the attention and the realness, their validity. And then he's like, what work we put in, what didn't we? So the work being the stuff before the music, maybe, but also, like, what'd you put out? Like, you're all putting, like, they're actually putting in work with this music stuff, even though they're putting out tapes on tapes on tapes. Like, before they got signed, they were dropping tapes multiple times a year, and even after that, they were doing it too. So it's crazy.
Besides Kanye West, tell me who else I gotta respect. Cause I'm kinda perplexed. It's about time that I got my respect. It's the butcher, nigga. Let's go.
I think these people who are asking questions are maybe the fans, or people who are looking from the outside in, who maybe not the biggest fans of Griselda, like the more casual listeners, maybe. But he's like, yeah, no, I can see you thinking that, like, you're responsible for our success. It could even go further and be the record labels and everyone else higher up thinking that. But then he's like, even if that's the case, besides Conway and Westside Gunn, who else I gotta respect? Because, they all came up together. They put in work together, essentially. Now he's like, I get all that, but where's my respect? Like, he's been putting in the work himself also. And it's almost like, why aren't y'all paying me any mind? Then we get into a bridge from J. Cole, and then Cole's verse.
On the night I was born, the rain was pouring, God was crying, lightning struck, power outage, sparks was flying, the real one's here, the young boy that walked with lions around the outlines of chalk where the corpses lying.
So I guess when he was born, it was raining. Maybe to make it sound like this is kind of more of a rags to riches song. Like, oh yeah, when I was born, it was all sad and depressing, but but like lightning struck, there was a power outage, sparks was flying, and that imagery in my mind made it seem like it's more of a powerful thing. He's like, nah, when I was born, boom, explosions. And he's like, the real ones here, the young one that walk with the lions. Call back to young Simba, and he used to walk with these lions around the outlines of chalk where corpses lie, because when people die in the streets, they outline their body with chalk. And, for the whole crime scene. And he was out there with the lions at the crime scene. So, he's killing y'all. His words.
And of course I'm trying to revive a sport that's dying, but the guns and the drug bars that y'all relying got these nerves thinking that you niggas hard as iron, but that just mean I ain't as comfortable as y'all with lying.
So he's trying to revive a sport that's dying, like lyricism? Maybe? I mean, maybe in terms of like mainstream rap, I could see that. But the guns and drug balls that y'all rely on, all these bars that you're talking about, like the gun bars, the drugs, like you're fake about it essentially. Like you're saying all these things, and you got all these rap nerds, I guess. Thanks, J. Cole. You got all these rap nerds thinking that you're as hard as I am. Like they're basically like, I don't think of Cole as necessarily the most hard person. It is very weird just saying that, but like you don't think of him as being one of those, like a gangster, basically. Like I don't know. I think what he meant here is like, yeah, you have all these bars about guns and drugs, and all the listeners are like, ooh, that's a bar. But in reality, like, it's not that good. I think that's really what he's trying to get at.
Stretching the truth, no, I never stress in the booth. They feel the pressure, me, I feel like I just left a masseuse. Effortless, how I'm skating on these records is proof. I put your favorite rapper neck in a noose, never letting them loose.
Continuing on about these other rappers, they're stretching the truth, they're lying in their rhymes. They feel pressure because, eventually these lies are going to catch up to them. But Cole, because he hasn't lied in his lines, feels like he just left the masseuse. He's all loose, he's relaxed. And then, he continuing on how much better he is. He's skating on these records, and he's got your favorite rapper in a noose, and he's never letting them loose.
Cold world, the heat of blast of your speaker. He the last of Mohicans, no weaklings last in my sneakers. Nigga want me on the song, he gon' see the wrath of the reaper. I'm probably gon' go to hell if Jesus asks for a feature.
Oh man, so Cold World, the heater blasting your speaker. So kind of multiple lines there, I guess. So Cold World is something that he says about himself. This is Cole's world, you could say, but it is also a cold world. The heater blasting your speaker, the heater being like an actual space heater, a gun blasting, like it's blowing hot air or it's firing off, and your speaker's also blasting. He the last of the Mohicans, no weaklings last in my sneakers. Last of the Mohicans reference. Last time I brought that up, no one got it. But it's okay, Cole. I know what you're saying. No weaklings last in my sneakers. You can't walk in my shoes. Do want me on a song, he gonna see the wrath of the reaper. I'm probably gonna go to hell and ask Jesus for a feature. So if you're gonna get a Cole feature, expect him to go all out. And because he's killing all these guys, he's probably going to go to hell. But even in hell, Jesus is going to ask Cole for a feature.
I'm higher than niggas that don't need a bag full of reefer. Some see the glass is empty, I see a glass full of ether. Collecting his bread and mass like he a Catholic preacher. Just to count a nigga cash, you might need a calculus teacher.
He's higher than y'all, he doesn't need no weed for it. Like higher, like holier? No. Like he's on a higher level. Some see the glass as empty, I see the glass full of ether. Ether's like a gas. It may look like the glass may look empty, but no, it's still full. And the ether's like, I always think of ether as like a noxious gas. It's like to knock someone out. I could be wrong though. Collecting his bread and mass, like a Catholic preacher, like mass, and you get that. And then just to count my cash, you'll need a calculus teacher. Sure. Sure.
Eureka, Einstein on the brink of the theory of relativity. Really, no MC equal. Feel me, co-pin be lethal. Crip like an old MTV show. On God, the best rapper alive, headshot.
So, those first two lines, Einstein's theory of relativity E equals MC squared, which is really no MC equal. But he didn't do the square part. But regardless, I guess he was on the brink of the theory there too. Crib, like an old MTV show. Other than MTV Cribs, I don't know what else he's trying to say there. And on God, the best rapper alive, headshot. So is he trying to say he's the best rapper alive, or is that a shot at Eminem's diss track to Machine Gun Kelly? I think he's just trying to say he's the best rapper alive and everyone else is dead.
Now go and ask the best rappers that died. They tell you he never lied, nigga. Yeah.
So those two lines are like a continuation of the previous line, best rapper alive, headshot. So all these best rappers that died because of Cole's headshots will tell you Cole's not lying. And I just realized like that's him. He just did a whole verse talking about people lying. Like, what? Okay, wow. I try not to be hype with the Cole verse because I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of Cole. And I was trying to be as neutral as possible, but that was a pretty good verse. not gonna lie. So this track was good. I like it. It's weird because the production doesn't necessarily fit the words when you really look at it. The production feels so much more mellow, but like these words almost sounded aggressive. In the song, it sounds fine, but it's like when you look at it, it's like this doesn't fit. But regardless, it was a dope track. If this is just the first single for Tana Talk 4, I'm sure we're gonna get more like this. So I can't wait for that album. It's gonna be great. So Benny's verse was dope. I mean, but to be fair, that's kind of expected at this point. Like Benny delivering a bad verse, nah, it's always dope. And then I guess Cole's on another feature run, so we can expect more good Cole features. Benny talked about validity and his position in the rap game and the respect that he's not getting, which all very valid points. And I think with Tana Talk 4, he's going to get that attention that he deserves. But then Cole just did a whole verse talking about people lying in their raps and how he's way realer than y'all. And yeah, I'm just not gonna I have nothing else to say about that. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this track. I'm enjoying it. Also, if I've missed something or misinterpreted anything, like I said, let me know in the comments below, because there's probably references that I just didn't get, especially with Benny's verse, because I'm not as familiar with him as I am with Cole. So I mean, I listen to Benny, but you know what I mean. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.